had a visit, that apparently there were reports that he were wanting too much money, that the Miami Dolphins were not willing to cave into his demands. And it turned out that that was actually the correct move, because from what we can see now, Odell Beckham Jr., after the draft was over, Miami drafted 2 wide receivers. We thought that this would be an over and done deal. We were not going to go get Odell Beckham. There was no reason to. We had just gotten Malik Washington. We just gotten Taj Washington. We were all good. But as it turns out, the Miami Dolphins did not think so. And now, because Odell Beckham Jr. must have realized that with all these wide receivers that had just gotten drafted, maybe, just maybe, there might have been a reason to say, okay, you know what? I'll go ahead and take your deal because I don't want to be left out in the cold with all these other wide receivers that are about to get cut because they're too expensive. So Odell Beckham Jr. now not only is going to be with the Miami Dolphins on a team-friendly deal, it is so team-friendly that it's actually only a $3 million base with about $5.8 million or so in incentives. So he can make up to, I believe the number is $8.7 million. I'm not looking at it right off the top of my head, but he can make up to $8.7 million based on just pure incentives. His base salary is $3 million. So if he doesn't hit all of those incentives, the Miami Dolphins don't have to pay him nearly as much as what they were expecting. Now, obviously, they are going to have some of that money allocated, which is fine. I'm okay with that. And because remember what we're doing here. The Miami Dolphins did not sign Odell Beckham Jr. to be their number 1 wide receiver. Those days obviously are gone. Odell Beckham Jr. is currently 31 years old. He hasn't had a 600-yard receiving season ever since, and I'm just going to pull up the stats here real quickly. So Odell Beckham Jr. has not had over 600 yards receiving since 2019 when he had 1,000 yards receiving with the Cleveland Browns, 1,035 exactly. So obviously he went to the Rams. They won a Super Bowl, and he was not able to fully contribute because of injury. He sat out the 2022 season entirely. He went into the Baltimore Ravens in 2023, and even though he wasn't meant to be their number 1 contributor, he actually was one of their top contributors from a number standpoint. Mark Andrews was hurt. There was a lot of other factors going on over there, but Odell Beckham Jr., if nothing else, proved that he still has some gas left in the tank. And that is exactly what the Miami Dolphins are needing right now. They just need somebody who can hold down the fort, make it so that when Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are not necessarily active, or if for whatever reason they're just taking a quick breather. We saw how Tyreek Hill struggled with cramps throughout the 2023 season, but that's neither here nor there. The point is that what Odell Beckham Jr. does, he works on the outside. That's what he's really good at. He's good at getting separation. He's good at being able he has great hands, by the way. That's something that should not be overlooked. With Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, there's always that risk that they might drop the ball. Odell Beckham Jr. doesn't drop passes. He just doesn't. He is as sure-handed as they come. And quite frankly, again, he does something that the other receivers on the team do not. Braxton Berrios, who the Miami Dolphins brought back, he is a slot receiver. We saw what happened when he tried to put him outside. It doesn't work. Malik Washington, projected to be a slot receiver. Taj Washington, projected to be a slot receiver. What are we going to get out of Eric Ezunkama? We don't really know. What we do know for a fact is what Odell Beckham Jr. does is exactly what the Miami Dolphins are going to be needing, which will actually free up, take this into account, okay? So you have Odell Beckham Jr. on the outside, but you also have Tyreek Hill in the field. Where is Tyreek? Is he on the other side of the field? Is he in the slot? Oh my gosh, Tyreek Hill in the slot would be so dangerous. And there are so many weapons now for Tua Tagovailoa to use. He has an absolute arsenal at his disposal. So now what the Miami Dolphins need to do, there's only one thing left, really, that I really think that they need to focus on. Now, there are going to be some that say that the Miami Dolphins need a safety as well. I am not necessarily in that camp. I get it. I understand where they're coming from. The whole Baltimore Ravens 3 safety scheme. I feel like the Miami Dolphins don't need to go sign another safety. I think they're good on that. But as far as the offensive line goes, I'm going to continue saying this. I was not personally a fan of the Patrick Paul signing. I get it. It's meant for the future. I want the now. The Miami Dolphins need to go find a veteran guard, whether it's a Dalton Risner or a Greg Van Roten or whatever you want, however you want to handle it. Go get a guard that will keep Tua upright and give him more than 2 seconds to throw the football. With the Odell Beckham Jr. signing, the wide receiver position is done. They don't need anything else at that point. Now, go get a guard. And as far as I'm concerned, the 2024 team, at least on paper, is already looking better than 2023. That's going to be it for this Take 5. We will go ahead and we will see you next time when more on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.